How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. Lots to talk about here today on the show. It is Monday. That means Raw is tonight, and we have some big things announced for the show. As we head into SummerSlam, the big show this summer from WWE, Stephanie McMahon's big announcement. Her historic announcement coming up on the show tonight. What is it? A lot of theories. The top two being an all-women's pay-per-view event in September somewhere near Long Island. That seems to be one of the top predictions. The other being the announcement of women's tag team titles. Talked about that one on Friday. Both of these on Friday, actually. It is possible her announcement is both things. Maybe there's going to be a women's pay-per-view coming up in September, and they're going to be starting a women's tag team tournament, and the finals will take place on that show. Maybe it'll be a one-night tournament. There's a lot of different things that they could do. We're going to find out tonight. There's stuff going on. That's all I was told here today. So tomorrow, I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about based on Stephanie's big announcement. Also tonight, Roman Reigns versus Bob. Winner gets Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Paul Heyman is going to be at the show tonight. We'll find out how he gets involved in all of this. Will it be Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar again? Will it be Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar? Or will it be, my prediction, a three-way Bob versus Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the title at SummerSlam? Also tonight on the WWE Network after the show, there is an Elias concert that was taped in New Orleans after, or somewhere around WrestleMania weekend. So if you're a big fan of Elias, there are actually two different WWE Network specials about Elias coming up on the network this month. So first one is tonight. We got the results of the Slammiversary show last night. Did you see the show? If you saw the show, what'd you think about it? Love your thoughts. We're going to try the phones here today, and I'll explain after the break why this may or may not work. But the phone number, 844-411-5411. That is toll-free, 844-411-5411. Text messages, 425-780-7566. Back in just a moment with more Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Going to start with something rare today. I'm going to go right to the phones. I'm going to find out if they work. Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's up?
Hey, Bryan. It's Ahmad from Toronto. Just had a comment and a question.
What's happening?
Yeah, so just first thing, I can hear you, but it's a bit like the audio is kind of...
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't know, kind of staticky, but I don't know if you follow Adam Cole on Twitter, but I think someone's hacked his account. He's trying to reveal his personal information. Yeah, it's pretty egregious.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I gotta let you go. So, anyway, he's asking about Adam Cole's Twitter. It appears to have been hacked. If anybody is listening to this and can let Adam Cole know, needs to check it out. But so anyway, if you guys listened to the show on Friday, we had Dr. Lucha on, and what's so funny? You saw his Twitter?
Well, apparently, yeah, this guy's really, whoever has hacked it, has really got some anger towards Vice.
Man.
Yeah, the old-time Warner people of Vice and Vice TV and Vice documentaries and such.
That's not good. So anyway...
He's now called Mo the God, by the way.
I see. If you listen to the Friday show, we had Dr. Lucha on, we had Jimmy Havoc on, and Jimmy Havoc's phone was just absolutely atrocious. And as it turns out, it may be my phone's. I tried to call Dave last night to get the show ready, and I can't dial out. And so that guy called in and couldn't hear a word he said or vice versa. So clearly my phones are messed up. So I guess what we'll do today is, if you want to give us a call, the phone number, we're going to use the Sports Byline, 1-800-878-PLAY. That's 1-800-878-7529, I believe.
Oh my God, Dom is going to do some work today.
Yep, Dom's going to be put to work today. We're going to see how they do. 1-800-878-PLAY. So that'll be the phone number today if you want to give us a call. Text message number is still the same. Those are coming through just fine. So there you go. And this person here just texted to say, phone's not working. Please, no more calls. Well, we're going to use the other line. I've already got a text message out to my guy, who hopefully will come and fix the phones here very soon.
Wow, you got a guy? That's a big thing down here in southern Delaware where the Briscoes are and everything. Somebody, you always got a guy, and if that guy can't do it, then he's got a guy.
Well, I got a guy from the actual phone company, because the last time he was here, he gave me his personal number for the next time there's problems.
Well, hopefully this works out better than the air conditioning guy who came.
No, there's nothing wrong with the guy. There was something wrong with my air conditioning.
Oh, I thought the guy blew you off, though, and wasn't there on time and sent you into a tizzy.
Oh, well, there was a little bit of that, but, I mean, we got it all handled. Anyway, let's get to the news here. Stephanie McMahon's announcement tonight. Bob versus Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, an Elias concert. There's a lot going on in WWE. Mike, this is your last chance to make a prediction for Stephanie's big announcement.
I will go with the double announcement of the tag titles, the women's tag titles, and a special airing on the network. I will go with both of those things.
So you're going with what everybody's figuring.
Yes, I'm going with that one as opposed to the much more vanilla Mae Young Classic 2 and more details on that, which, you know, I would assume they're going to have something a lot more exciting since they keep hyping it up. So big deals to follow.
Well, they say that this is history, and an all-women's pay-per-view would, in fact, that would definitely be history.
And makes sense in the situation they're in. You could say how watered down it is or any of that sort of stuff. Doesn't matter. If it airs on the network, if it's all women and they are going to offer it up on pay-per-view as well, too, it is a landmark for them. Now, is it the first women's all women's wrestling pay-per-view? Absolutely not. But for them it is, and they can market that and once again get a lot of eyeballs on that network, or at least try to get some more eyeballs on that network, which obviously helps with what they want to do in marketing it.
So we'll find out later on tonight. We'll talk about it tomorrow. As of this morning, it was supposed to open up the show. But you know how things go. There's a production meeting coming up. They could shuffle everything around as they often do, but it's going to happen at some point on the show unless they just pull it. This person says, what are the odds of the SmackDown women's title match at SummerSlam ending up as a fatal four-way? I don't see them leaving Asuka and Charlotte off the card this year. I don't think anybody wants to see Becky versus Carmella in a singles match. Actually, you know what? There's a lot of Becky fans who would love to see her and Carmella in a singles match.
Absolutely. If this doesn't end with James Ellsworth tripping up Becky and Becky actually winning, absolutely we do.
They haven't really finished off. Maybe they have finished off the Asuka versus Carmella feud, and we just didn't get it.
Well, we just didn't want to. Yeah, didn't want to get it.
But they could do a four-way. They love multi-women matches. That's their gimmick. So,
well, and you know what? To be honest with you, if they are going to open up something like that for SummerSlam, then you can leave a door open for Asuka. You can leave something undone with Becky maybe after this, in the next couple of weeks, and then maybe that's how Charlotte comes back, with unfinished business, still trying to get her title back from the woman who, quote-unquote, stole it from her. So if you wanted to go in the direction of a multi-woman match, you could, there could be a rhyme and a reason of why they're doing what they're doing right now.
First says, Stephanie's announcement will likely be an all-women's pay-per-view and a tag team title. If the tag titles do happen, I would like the champion to go back and forth. I would like to see the NXT women on the show, because Io Shirai and Kairi Sane are the best wrestlers in WWE, should get the spotlight on them. Some of the best wrestlers in WWE are on the developmental brand, men and women. So here's the thing. Here's the thing with the tag team titles. So when they first did the brand split, I said, listen, there should be one heavyweight title that goes from show to show. Then each show can have a secondary title that is exclusive to their show. The Intercontinental title is on one show. The U.S. title is on the other show. Tag team champions, you could also have go brand to brand. I like the idea of a title or titles that go brand to brand. It opens up a lot of possibilities. When they started this women's evolution deal, and they really went hard in the women and they did the brand, I thought, okay, this is also easy. The cruiserweights are on one brand, and the women are on the other brand. Well, as it turns out, they split the women in half, and now the cruiserweights are on no brand. When's the last time you saw a cruiserweight on Raw? They're gone, okay? The thing with the women is, there's only 12 women, or 14 women or something like that. There's a very, very small number of women. There's too few women to realistically have a good division on both shows. So, now we're talking about a tag team title, where you're going to have teams of 2 women. So if you've got, how many women are on each brand? 6, 8? At most 8, right? There's no more than 8, okay? So you got 4 teams. You got 4 teams on one brand, 4 teams on the other brand, and you're going to have tag titles for both brands? Like, this is going to be the lamest. You have to have a traveling set of tag team titles, I think. They can do whatever the hell they want because they want to sell belts to kids, but this is ridiculous.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's already been proven. It's been ridiculous with the tag team titles of the men, and they're not having enough teams. And look, they could have enough teams. They could have enough women. And great, even if they did add a bunch more people and a bunch more teams, if they don't take them seriously, it's not worth anything anyway. So, I don't know. I have my hands thrown up on this. I agree. I don't believe that the women should only be on one brand, but I think when you have one champion, say for the women, for the cruiserweights, for the tag teams, that could go back and forth, you always have something going on, not only in the title picture, but on both brands with a number one contendership, with somebody looking for that next shot. So you don't necessarily need a lot of people because you open up the possibility to do more with your stories, at least on paper. They're not interested in doing that, or at least they're just interested in doing it their own way.
Berzier says, what's the story with Cain Velasquez in the Performance Center? There is no story. He was there, did some training. Did you watch the video of him?
No.
Yeah. There's no story to Cain in the Performance Center. God bless the guy. I think there's zero chance of him becoming a WWE superstar.
No.
But you never know. You never know who might make it in this business. All right, we're going to head to a break. Back in a moment. Calls, text messages, news, and more. Slammiversary, we can talk about that. Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com, is noted. If you want to give us a call here today, we're using the Sports Byline, 1-800-878-PLAY, 1-800-878-7529 is the phone number here today. Had a texter here saying, is it me, or was Dave a little too hard on Impact? Was he? I thought he gave it a pretty good review. I will admit I think that I liked the show more than he did. But I didn't think he was too hard on it. I didn't see the opener, but very quickly, Tessa Blanchard Alley. I thought, since Asuka's been facing Carmella, and Charlotte has been out of action, this was the best women's match on a U.S. pay-per-view in months now. It was very, very good. Tessa Blanchard is great. Allie tries very, very hard. She admitted on this show she's not much of an athlete, but boy does she try. Eddie Edwards, Tommy Dreamer had an ECW-style match. Fans loved it. It's not my favorite kind of match, but it was a good match. If that's your thing. Brian Cage, Matt Sydal. Brian Cage won the title in a match you have to see because it's so preposterous to have a 280-pound guy who's playing babyface, facing a guy who's maybe 165 pounds, who's playing heel, and the big guy is doing stuff like running Hurricane Ranas, but the little guy's catching him in midair and powerbombing him. I swear to God this happened in this match. So that was fun. Su Yung, Madison Rayne was there. It wasn't very good. LAX versus the OGs in a 51-50 street fight. Second hardcore match on the show. I didn't think you needed 2-on-1 show, but by the end of this match, this was a great match. Thought it was a great match. The LAX won. All sorts of craziness. Ladders, chairs, tables, thumbtacks, the whole 9 yards. If that's your kind of match, you'll love it. Then, that's followed by your third hardcore match of the night. Pentagon Jr. and Sami Callihan, mask versus hair. This match was outstanding. This match was probably, as far as like national, I guess it wasn't on national television, but if you remember that kill shot match in Lucha Underground that was just absolutely insane, this was like maybe in second place to that match. They used spikes, chairs, bleeding. There was a spot where Pentagon put a spike on Sammy's head and hit it with a baseball bat. Just all sorts of nuttiness, but place is just going haywire for this match. And Pentagon Jr. won. Sami Callihan got shaved. This was an excellent, excellent deathmatch style violent brawl. And then in the main event, having to follow all of that, Austin Aries versus Moose in a professional wrestling match. I was like, there's no way this is following 2 hardcore matches, including one of the better hardcore matches I've ever seen. There's just no way this can follow it. Austin Aries is one of the best wrestlers in the entire world. He got such a great championship match out of Moose. Moose is a great athlete. He's not a great worker. But he's a great athlete that can be carried by a great worker. So they went in there, went 15 minutes, had the place going crazy. Austin Aries finally hits the big brainbuster on the floor, get back in the ring, penalty kick, brainbuster in the middle. And Moose is a big dude. And Austin Aries is not a big dude. But he got him up for multiple brainbusters, pinned him, retained the title. This was like the best Impact pay-per-view I've seen. God, I can't even tell you the last one that was this good. It's a new Impact. And they're focusing on wrestling. They're focusing on their video packages. They're focusing on storylines. It's still missing something because we don't get a lot of people that call into this show or text into the show or email about it. It's still under the radar. Like, the people that are watching it understand that it's so much better now, but I think the problem is there's so much wrestling that is available in JPW World, WWE Network, Fight, beIN Sports, Ring of Honor, ROH's streaming service. I mean, to really stand out, you've got to have like something that's better than everybody else has. And the only thing that I can think of that Impact has that's better than anybody else is the stuff with Conan, LAX, and the OGs. Like, that's stuff that nobody does as well as Impact. But that's the only thing. Everything else is just really good. And I think that they need something that's going to really make them stick out, whether it's some star that they hire or some angle that really clicks, something. I don't know what that is. Getting off Pop, they get back on the former Spike TV, that'd be something, but I know you didn't see it, Mike, but that was a good show.
No, and that's, I haven't seen that much Impact since they have rebranded and reawoken as the Owl with Anthem buying it. But as I talked about, asked Josh Matthews about when he was on last week, it feels different. It does truly feel different, and who cares what Dave said coming out of this show? I think the overwhelming thing coming out of this show is Impact had a good show, and it felt like they had their own identity, and it did truly feel different. And it does feel like there's positive momentum, and they're going the right way. It's just the problem at this point is the one thing that they can do better, it doesn't, whatever that is, it's offset by how much damage has been done to that company and that brand over time, where this may be too little too late. We'll have to see how, much Anthem is behind them in this going forward. But like you mentioned, the competition that they're up against, the amount of streaming services, the amount of, and it doesn't even, in the wrestling one matters because obviously they're selling Anthem, but, or the I forget what they're calling their Impact streaming service, but at a time now where there's more of these things than ever, we're talking about the Zone is now coming in, and if you're a multiple sport fan, if you like both MMA and wrestling and boxing, now that's another one added into the mix on top of ESPN Plus becoming a thing for people, and it just gets to be overwhelming where, yeah, they do need a lot to stand out, but they, I don't know what they have to do, but it's going to be more than something that's going to take place on screen, and I don't know what it is, but they need some sort of crossover appeal, and as great as D'Angelo Williams is, I don't know if it's drawing other bodies, other athletes, something in there, but they're going to need something over the top to draw even the slightest bit of attention to themselves.
All right, let's go to the sports byline. Tanner in Maryland is on the line. Tanner, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Bryan and Mike? Hope you guys are doing well. I've got a comment and a question here for you. First off, I've probably run into Mike at Food Line like I have Jay Briscoe, so I'll have to be on the lookout for you next
Line?
time.
Is that a store?
Yes, it is. It's a grocery store. Mike
I'm more of a Harris Teeter guy, but...
How about that?
All right. So my comment I had about Impact, because you guys were just talking about it, I really, really enjoyed the Dreamer match. Mostly just because of the storyline. I don't follow Impact too much, but I really enjoyed that story, how it was greatly well done. And I was kind of angry watching it because it seemed like the crowd was just so unhappy that somebody didn't go through a table that was on fire. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. But my question that I had was related to the belts. I mean, it's pretty obvious that the announcement tonight is going to be of a women's tag match, or women's tag belts, rather. This is not going to just be a Raw women's tag belt, right? This is going to be defended cross-brand.
Dude, we don't know.
Raw.
Well, we don't know anything. We don't know if it's...
I would be...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, I'd be surprised if they just do a Raw tag belt and not do a SmackDown, too, if they're not planning to do that.
Well, I want to thank you very much for the call. I mean, listen, if they're doing women's tag team titles, they're either doing belts for Raw and SmackDown, or they're doing traveling belts. I mean, they're not going to do Raw women's tag team titles, but the SmackDown women get nothing. I mean, it's going to be one or the other. We don't know what it's going to be. I mean, it could only be the announcement of the pay-per-view. It could be both. It could be something totally different. I have no idea what it's going to be.
And in honest to God, when it comes to those tag, they could announce something and have it go a completely different direction by the time they roll it out. I mean, so it's even like when they announce something, you still aren't sure exactly the way it's going to go.
And listen, Omega and Okada got away with a spot where they set up a table, but no one ended up going through it, okay? Now, the difference is they set up that table like 15 minutes into a 40-minute match or whatever. And so by the time the finish came, you didn't even remember there was a table there. I remember because I watched it back. But if you're doing a hardcore match and you're killing each other with gimmicks and you set up a table in the ring and you put lighter fluid on it and you get out a lighter and then you go to the finish like 1 minute later, yeah, the fans are going to be really upset that you didn't light that thing on fire and put somebody through it. I mean, they just can't avoid it. No. So that was a misstep in that match, but I was glad, trust me, I'm glad nobody got set on fire. But that's a tough spot to do, because once you set up that thing and put the lighter fluid on it, people are expecting you're going to do something crazy. By the way, Austin Aries here on Twitter. He says, nobody's at my level, period. If you disagree, you're invited to come prove me wrong. If your boss will let you, of course. Now listen, I'm a huge fan of Austin Aries. He was outstanding last night. He was one of the best wrestlers in the world. But let's not get crazy here. He's not the best wrestler on the earth.
Well, he thinks that.
I'm sure he does. That's why he's so good.
Very high opinion of himself. And that's the thing about him, too. I mean, a lot of those people who tend to be obstreperous pricks, you know, they do believe in themselves very good. And, hey, I saw him have a great match with Kenny King at the ROH show. So, I mean, when putting good performances or putting high-profile performances, he's got it.
Back in a moment, Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Couple of news notes, then back to the phones and the text messages. Impact tapings this week. Sami Callihan, Ray Phoenix. Matt Sydal, Pentagon Jr. Sydal's also getting a rematch for the title. Petey Williams, Tyson Dukes. Congo Kong, Stone Rockwell. And the Deaners versus the Cult of Lee is on the lineup for the tapings. Their next pay-per-view coming up on Sunday, October 14th, Bound for Glory 2018, Melrose Ballroom in Queens, which is the same place that a number of other promotions actually are running. The Battle Riot show last week was there, Game Changer Wrestling, Joey Janela's Lost in New York, lots of stuff there. And the MLW Battle Riot show will be airing on beIN Sports Friday with a 40-man Battle Riot match. A very important match for you all to watch, by the way. 40-man Weapons Battle Royal. Winner gets an MLW title match against Low Key. I'm so excited about all of this.
Yes, I am, too.
MJF versus Joey Ryan for the middleweight title. And Kata Brazil versus Myron Reed. That's the lineup for Friday. MLW also selling tickets for War Games. MLWGo.com announced September 6th, MLW War Games.
War, games.
No, War Games.
I know.
They trademarked it because WWE fell asleep or something like that.
Well, hey, that Court's been doing that one for a while. He has been on that for literally years now, since the original MLW, in fact.
That's right. So September 6th, you'll be able to check out the 2-ring steel cage encounter. Learn more. MLW War Games.
Hey, I am all for this. I am all for this. Gordon knows, for old people like me, what War Games means. And I know anymore things like names like Great American Bash and events that have been bastardized by WWE. They've lost what they meant. And at least when it comes to MLW, there's the chance that War Games, I mean, it's as close as we're going to get to going back in time and going to the Great American Bash in 89 or your Great American Bash in 86. Whenever you had a chance to experience War Games, the Dangerous Alliance against Stinger Squadron or whatever the hell it was called. I mean, when it was good, it was awesome. And when it was bad, it was hideous. But when it was good, it was just so great. And MLW is the only one who's going to be able to pull off the vibe of the past. So I am all in on this because it's a stipulation and a gimmick match that I absolutely love. And when built up the right way, when it actually closes off feuds and crosses up feuds like it did in the past, it really is probably, I don't want to say it's the best gimmick match out there, but it's right up there.
Funny you should mention All In. We got another match for All In. Hangman Page versus Joey Janela, September 1st, Hoffman Estates, Illinois. We've also got Okada versus Marty Scurll and Cody Rhodes challenging for the NWA World Heavyweight title, which Flip Gordon did not win. But there's still plenty of time. Flip's still not on the show. Cody teased putting him on the show, but gave him a $25 Cracker Barrel gift card instead. Lance, very, very jealous.
You think Flip can escape bully on this show? I mean, everybody else is going to be in Chicago. I'm sure his show is going to be in Chicago. So why not some sort of interaction possibly with Bully and Flip on All In?
Perhaps that's what they'll do. I don't know. Person here says, watched some of Slammiversary last night. At times, not sure if I was watching Impact or CZW. He says, I've grown tired of table spots. Those types of spots are way overdone. I was the biggest fan of Sabu 20 years ago, but that was then, and this is now.
Well, look, I'm not blaming Impact for that. It's the guys you got out there, and it's just, yeah, it's overdone. And like Bryan mentioned, there were, it sounds like there were, when you have that many hardcore matches, but if it worked for the crowd that's there, you got to give them some leeway because they're trying to do anything they can to get attention on themselves, and they're using guys from the indies like Pentagon, like Sami Callihan, like some others that, I mean, they've gotten their buzz on the indies. You have to let them go out there and do what they're going to do. I mean, you let Aries go out there and do what he's the best at. With these other guys, I mean, that's what you have to let them go out there and just go and get crazy. I mean, you don't want it to be too over the top and you don't want to do it too much, but they, like it's been talked about, they need something to make themselves stand out, and that's one of the ways you can do it. You just got to be careful with how.
What are the chances tonight? Steph is in the ring with the women, and they all celebrate like they did after the Royal Rumble announcement. Chances are good.
Yeah.
That you will see that. All right, let's go to the phones. Muhammad in Toronto, you were on the air. What's going on?
Hey, if it was up to you, when Bobby Fish comes back, would you just have the Undisputed Era run as a three-man team or kick Roderick Strong out and start a program from there?
Oh, man, don't take Roderick Strong. Don't take anybody out of that group yet. It's such a great group of just douchey guys. It's awesome.
Yeah, all right, thanks a lot. I also really liked your match, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for the call.
Oh, the one he lost for his team?
I'll get out of here. I didn't lose it for my team.
They cheated.
The referee lost it for my team. Let's get it straight.
I understand that David Arquette is out there. He's looming in the distance as a presence in your life that you may have to clean up by the end of the year, but you do, I mean, arguably have a little bit of payback for Filthy. I mean, I think you owe him one, and I think there are plenty of teams he'd like to go out there and mix it up with, and maybe you ought to consider maybe paying a little bit of a debt back to him and the fact that you didn't work out with him, and maybe you didn't take this thing seriously with the rock and roll.
What are you talking about? Are you out of your mind?
And maybe...
When did he come up to Seattle? Oh, he didn't.
Well, he's out there. Obviously, you don't have a chance to do shows
so am I. I'm out there, too.
Out there working,
It's not my fault, Mike.
You didn't have you didn't have to go to the Redwoods. You could have traveled with him to the show, but
no,
you didn't.
I didn't. I have a family I had
to
go to. Are you kidding me?
He's got a family. Look, what I'm saying here is, bottom line, maybe you ought to consider teaming back up with Tom again one more time and giving this another shot.
Of course I am. Are you kidding me? We're a team. I'll team up with him again. I don't know who. And yes, this person says, when are you facing David Arquette? We'll see. That's the match I want. But it's not like we can just snap our fingers and sign Bryan Alvarez versus David Arquette. Work has to go into this. But my people, Mike, are working on this. And hopefully they can get it going. I have no matches in the foreseeable future, however. I have nothing in the foreseeable future. Tom and I are going to have to decide who we want to face next. Because anybody else, quite frankly, is probably going to be a step down from the greatest tag team of all time. I'm not just running out there to wrestle anybody. Do you understand? No, it has to be made worth my while.
Well, it needs to still truly be a challenge for you guys.
Well, obviously, if you watch the match, anybody's a challenge for us.
Well,
let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's going on? Who is this?
Sam, what's good? Bryan, this is Gene from Austin. How's it going?
Gene, what's going on? I was almost going to say Jean.
Oh, no. Just had a quick question. It's kind of about Extreme Rules, but a couple of sites had hinted at H was running the show instead of Vince, and I know that show did not sit well with many, and I know everyone's clamoring for Trips to take over once Vince and Kevin Dunn, if they ever retire. Is this a bit of concern now as far as, just because it's H and just because NXT is awesome, we can't just automatically assume that the main roster shows are going to be great once Hunter takes the reins?
No. I want to thank you very much for the call. Here's the deal. It wasn't like Hunter booked 4 weeks of Raw, and then that was the pay-per-view that he presented. He was just the guy there that day. And he made some decisions about what matches went on when. This is no indication whatsoever of what the company is going to be like if Vince McMahon fell off a cliff tomorrow and Triple H took over. If anything, your NXT product is going to be more similar to what WWE is going to be like after Vince McMahon falls off a cliff or whatever. Vince booked all of the Raw shows. Vince booked all of the matches. Vince booked all the stipulations. Vince booked all of the finishes. The only thing that Hunter did that day was run a show that had already been booked. And he made a decision to not have Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler go on first, but rather go on last. We talked about that decision many times. On paper, based on the matches that they'd had together, that wasn't a bad call. And like I said on another show, if Ziggler and Rollins were not on Raw, but rather they were in NXT, and there was an NXT Brooklyn TakeOver event, and Triple H decided that he was going to put the Iron Man match on last. You want to know what? It would have been a totally different match. The fans would have been totally into it. There would have been no stupid chance. It would have been a completely different show with that main event. It would have probably worked great on a TakeOver. But the problem was, this wasn't TakeOver. This was the Raw clown show with a bunch of stupid finishes and bad booking and everything, and a long show. A TakeOver would have been 2 hours, 20 minutes long, and the fans would have sat through an hour and a half before this match even started. That's it. On this show, they sat through 3 hours of BS, and then those guys had to go out there and try and do this match. So, no, you can't watch that show and say, oh my God, Hunter's going to be terrible when he takes over. There's zero indication of that. If you want to know what it's more likely going to be, watch this TakeOver coming up in Brooklyn, where there may be a special guest or two. This person says, it looks like they've actually put Adam Cole's phone number on his Twitter.
Oh, no.
Are you sure that's really his phone number? How do you know that's his phone number? Did you call him?
Maybe hopefully they put the number to Wrestling Observer Live up there.
I mean, don't call him. Let's see what they've done here.
Oh.
These hackers.
Hey, did that gentleman say he was from Austin? I wanted to ask him about if he moved down there because Mark Henry said it was nice this time of year.
Let's see. Well, he has put up a phone number, but I'm not sure if that's Adam's number. I mean, probably not, because I'm sure an hour ago, somebody would have called him and told him his Twitter was hacked. So,
Well, can somebody let Adam Cole know his Twitter's hacked? In 2018, our year here, can we let somebody know about this? Come on.
Person says, I don't think you can face Arquette on land, perhaps in international waters. I think it's a little too late to book that match on Jericho's cruise.
Yeah.
Don't think it's
you
happening.
Go on that?
I'm not going to Jericho's cruise, although it sounds like fun.
Yeah, right.
I know you disagree, but it does. Dude, it sounds like fun.
Well, yeah, hey, I guess if that's your kind of fun.
What kind of fun is your kind of fun?
Not that kind of fun that Jericho does.
You kidding me? Getting out on a boat, wrestling matches, a cruise, nice weather. What could be better? Person here says, Impact is facing an uphill battle. With a $40 or $50 price tag, Impact pay-per-views are now 4 to 5 times as expensive as WWE shows. If you figure in length, it is much more than that, with Impact being 3 hours and WWE being closer to 6 for the biggest shows. Well, length aside, forget about the length. I don't care.
That's not the first time you said that.
I want my show to be fun, not long. If Impact's going to put on a 3-hour show that's, like, great. I'd rather watch a 3-hour show than a WWE 6-hour show. Now, the price, I'm not going to argue the price.
Yeah.
Which is weird because, as somebody noted yesterday, early... oh, man. Let's just pretend that's not Adam Cole's number. Anyway, early in June, or late in June, they announced that the show was going to be like $20. And then, all of a sudden, the day the show came in, it wasn't $20. So, I don't know what happened there. I mean, wires were crossed or something. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. But yeah, if it were $20, I think a lot more people would have sampled it. But it's a business. They've got to make money. So you got to weigh that as well. Back in a moment with more Wrestling Observer Live. Make Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. Don't forget tonight, Monday Night Raw. Do they still call it Monday Night Raw? I think that's still the name of the show. Anyway, Raw's tonight. Roman Reigns versus Bob. Winner gets Brock Lesnar.
You're loving that.
Heyman is there. Hey, that's what they're calling him, Bob. Which is funny because he's a 43-year-old man who prefers Bobby to Bob. Never met one of those before.
Roberto Lashley.
My father-in-law's name is Bob. We do not call him Bobby. Anyway, Stephanie's big announcement is tonight as well.
You call him Robbie.
We got an Elias concert taped in New Orleans on the WWE Network later on tonight.
That dude's got an EP.
Yeah, his EP is out. I've not heard it yet. Everyone's asking. But I may have to check that out, actually. I may have to check it out. I presume it's going to be less than $40. Is that right?
I don't know. I'm going to put Dom to work, though. I'm going to try to find it and get some drops for the show tomorrow.
This person here says his birthday is October 27th. He wants you to know he's going to drive and take you to the boardwalk and go on the zipper.
I just got on that thing with my kid. That knock one off the bucket list for both of us. I'm never getting back on that thing.
I'd never get on it in the first place. Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus. Too old for this.
All right, everybody. We're going to wrap it up here for today. Lots of stuff up on the front page of WrestlingObserver.com. More to come. Thanks, Mike, as always. Everybody in the studio, callers, and listeners. We'll try this again tomorrow. Wrestling Observer Live.